Yep.
Okay.
You'll be right here? Yep.
Okay. We can get started then.
All right, we ready to proceed?
Mhm.
Okay. September 24th, 6:07, call the meeting to order. First order of business is you want to do the adoption of the
Salaries.
salaries. Okay. So there's a resolution that's been presented to adopt for the township trustee salary, 8,000, board members 1,050, investigator 8,000. We need a motion to adopt the resolution.
I'll move.
Okay. And a second? All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll sign and show approved. Yes, we're gonna share this pen.
That's fine. I have, I left my purse over there.
It's the official township signing pen.
Yes, it is. I left mine in the car.
It's blue, it matches the flag behind it.
All right. Second order of business then is the ordinance resolutions for the appropriation and tax rates. Do I need to read these into the record probably, just so?
Go ahead.
I think, yeah, that's fine. All right, so Fund 0061, the rainy day fund, adopted budget amount was $9,089, adopted tax levy 0, adopted tax rate 0. 0101 general fund, adopted budget amount $59,256, adopted tax levy $24,617, tax rate 0.0246. Fund 0840, the Township Assistance Fund, adopted budget amount $27,228, adopted tax levy amount $11,000, and tax rate 0.0110. Fund number 1111, Township Fire and EMS Fund, adopted budget amount $40,000, adopted tax levy rate or amount $26,042. The adopted tax rate 0.0347, and then finally the cumulative fire township fund 1190, adopted budget amount $20,000, adopted tax levy amount $12,265, adopted tax rate 0.0139. So the total adopted budget amount $155,573, adopted tax levy amount $73,924. Adopted tax rate total 0.0842. Need a motion to adopt the resolution.
I'll motion.
Okay. Have a second? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Ayes have it. Show this adopted.
Sign it in,
She
just
didn't,
check.
she didn't check it.
Oh, sorry.
That's
She's
okay.
undecided.
Here, let's get her, hey, I.
Get your check there.
Sorry.
Let's make that official, Tammy.
Okay.
And then is there any other business for this portion of the meeting?
With our business.
A motion to adjourn this portion of the meeting?
I'll motion.
All right. Second?
Second.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Alright.
All right. I will officially close this portion of the meeting.
Okay, this creature was crawling around while you were talking. There, he was crawling around, and it's like, okay, don't pay
I
attention.
know.
Okay.
We have friends among us.
We did, because there's another one that killed over there.
All righty. We ready to move forward to the regular board meeting, business meeting? Okay. We will show the time as 6:12 on September 24th, 2025. First order of business for our regular business meeting is the approval of May 7th, 2025 and September 9th, 2025 meeting minutes. Do you have any discussion that we need to make about those prior to that? Okay. All those in favor to adopt those two meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All right, second, Tammy?
Yeah.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
All right. We'll will sign off on these.
You know,
I was not present, so I will not sign that.
how is your wife doing?
She's doing well.
She's still here.
Better. Yeah. Slow, but
Does she behave like she should?
for the most part,
That's good.
It's hard, and the more time that passes, the harder it gets.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. She's a bit antsy.
Okay.
All right.
And Doug, you're going to have to remind me of her name.
Angela.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you. That's fine.
All righty, next order of business would be the finance report.
And I did send one out at the start of September, like kind of like my regular monthly reports to you guys. There's really not much change. I mean, we won't have like, we had one assistance request met, for the amount of $1,100, and then there was like a $24 charge. So that's really all that's been different. We have spent 2 days funding is $52,924 out of a $149,590 budget. So we're well within our spending and appropriation amounts. So obviously, fire has been a bigger increase this year due to just needs that haven't been, they just didn't really have any for the last several years, and everything just kind of came due at once on that. With the township budget, we still even have like 74% of that left, which is unusual. Like usually by the end, we're about 50%, which is kind of where you want it. Township assistance has been rather low again this year, so yeah. With the community service agreement, that will help that cash balance. So like we entered into that for the remainder of this year, so we just prorated, the amounts, and then starting next year, that'll be, the proposal is $4,000 coming out next year for that agreement. 2 being paid in January and then 2 being paid in July for a total of 4, because that allows time for any kind of adjustments if something's not kind of going right. So we will have to take a look at that because, if our cash balances continue to be high like that, we will not be able to take as big of an appropriation. And then, so again, we'll just keep monitoring it. Like we said, if the it goes away, that'll make a big difference, especially in our general fund. So, but we're doing well. No big outlays or anything coming up that I know of. So,
All right, we'll move to new business. First, roads and infrastructure fund resolution.
okay. And again, just a reminder that there's a new amendment to the Indiana Code that's requiring all townships to create a township roads and infrastructure fund. Right now, we only have to create it. And then beginning 2027, there could be a transfer required of 30% of our unencumbered, unobligated funds out of the rainy day or general fund. But that's even not known just yet. So at this point, we are only resolving to establish the fund as required by Indiana Code. So, okay.
I'll go ahead and, just for purposes of the record, read this resolution. Resolution pursuant to Indiana Code 36610 establishing the Township Roads and Infrastructure Fund, whereas Indiana Code 36610 directs the township to establish a fund for the improvement and maintenance of the roads and infrastructure within the township's boundaries, describes the revenues that must be deposited into the fund and the purposes for which they must be expended. And whereas the Township Board of Van Buren Township of Grant County is the legislative body of the township, now therefore the Township Board of Van Buren Township, Grant County hereby resolves as follows. The Township Roads and Infrastructure Fund is hereby established subject to the restrictions and purposes described at Indiana Code 36610, adopted this 24th day of September 2025. Have a motion to adopt this resolution.
So,
Second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor say aye. Anybody opposed? No. All right.
Yeah, it'd be legal if you could. Yeah, it'd be legal if you did.
Fine.
You're feeling risky, go ahead. Maybe she's gotta take minutes and something. Ah, double duty.
All right, moving along to the cemetery policy resolution.
So it's kind of coming back to what we talked about earlier this year. Well, actually, we even started discussing it last year. And so after kind of having a couple more cases come up, what's going to really work, what's not going to work. I'm just trying to think for the future of this office in what's the most sustainable thing. How likely is it that a future township trustee is going to want to be responsible for, plotting cemeteries, keeping a record, having a map, knowing, all of that. Because that would be kind of a big undertaking. I mean, there has been some work up through 2012 of what's existing, but as far as just, beyond that. And so I just thought maybe the best approach at this point is if you have a local funeral home who provides that as a service of their package to you, they'll probe for you. Basically, I would just rather leave it to them. I try to contact different people at different times to kind of just get things probed and just have not heard. But with a funeral home, they might have a bit more clout or weight to get that done. So I guess the thought is go ahead and make it available. If we wish to do it for a fee, we can. I felt like we don't need to say what the amount is because that obviously could change in the policy. In my opinion, I guess there's a little bit of weight that comes with charging a fee. So what's our responsibility if I'm charging the fee? Also, I tried to do as much of a search on property. There's only one that's even titled to anyone. It's Corey, and it's just some guy, Box 38, being here in Indiana. And then the Doyle Cemetery is actually titled to Grant County Commissioners. Our name's not on anything. So in that standpoint, I felt a little uneasy about doing the deed. Although according to these things in Indiana code, we can still assign a plot to folks. They can still have one as long as.
Do they have spaces?
Well, Barville does. And then when we found out with Tony Bragg, according to Glancy, Landis actually has more space than you. According to Shannon Glancy, because Tony Bragg wanted to be buried there. And I said, if you can find space, I'm not opposed to that. And then when we followed back up after, she's like, there's actually a little bit more space there than you think. So I thought, okay, those two I could see. But because again, I would assume that Tony's wife, if she, when she passes, would like to be there as well. So I guess the thought is, if we want to do a fee, okay, but I do believe that just adds an extra weight of, okay, what would be the responsibility of the trustee? Should the trustee be the one actually making sure the probing's done, keeping accurate maps, keeping accurate records, keeping all of that? Or if it's just, hey, you're a resident. But the terms that we had talked about last year was just like your current resident, when you pass or when you make the arrangements, you have family already buried in that location or with plots, or you have just significant ties to the community as determined by the trustee. So, and then I just thought, well, we could make it a little bit more formal. We can make a formal application for spots because I can verify, yes, you do live in the township or you do have significant ties. I can verify who you are. I know that you're dealing with what funeral home you're dealing with, who you're dealing with, at that funeral home. And then basically they have the funeral home. I can be present or just get the prior authorization. They find spots, however they mark that for their purposes, they can write it and then I get the application back. And then I got in writing, hey, I approved it. This is the location. Those that are being assigned those plots, they agreed to those locations. And then we talked about, do we want to put a time limit on when you can have the plots in place, or the monuments in place? Again, with the Indiana code, you have 50 years to make an improvement on a lot before you can just basically give it away, reassign it. I thought we can't say required, but could we say we request that within 24 months you have a monument in place?
Is a monument required at all?
Well, no, just some improvement. We need to know where you're at. How do we know who's there? So some kind of marker.
Cemetery records are supposed to have that, but.
Right, some marker of this is who
Other than the temporary stay.
Right, which could, again, and most times it seems that when someone is requesting a plot, it's because they've already passed or it's imminent. So we really haven't had that situation where there's just been something sitting with the state forever. But again, it was just kind of odd that you just don't usually get very many just talks or calls about that or inquiries about that. And I had 4 or 5 this year. I was like, we better get a move on this. So I did respond to the one gentleman, Richard Hart, who does not live in our township, just was kind of randomly asking. And I just kind of left it as, if the funeral service you're working with will do the probing, then I have no objection to that. And I never heard back from him. So, but if he was, he was going through an online thing, so I don't think that was going to happen. So, as you recall, Dale Beck had offered, but 3 times calling them, nothing. So, and Jeff Ramsayer was offered as someone, but they've been rather busy. So, and then the ground got super hard to get and dry, and then it became pretty much impossible. So, so this is just really, if you guys feel comfortable as is, we can sign. If you would like to still see some adjustments to it, we can. Obviously, a policy can change. So, I just think annual review, or if we're finding, gosh, this isn't working very well, then, at the next meeting, we can review again. This is just kind of what the application would look like. And I may find out from different, again, Glancy's, they say we do the probe, and that's just part of our service to our clients, and that's what we'll do. I guess there could be others that say, no, we're not doing that. So, again, we'll just cross that bridge when we get to it and say, well, that's what we request. Because, I don't have a rod, I don't have a prober, I don't have, So
I think it has to be the responsibility, of the applicant to
do that.
make sure there's a plot or a plot.
Yeah, and you have to show that it's not occupied. One thing to consider is, as we go down the line with capital improvement plans and stuff, if we just feel like we do want to invest a little bit more money on this front, and whatever software there it is, whatever way we would like to use to track where the headstones are, have a regular maintenance schedule with Craig Arnett, who did the cemetery restoration this past spring, and we could do that. But I'm just trying to think realistically, the future of this office and who could be holding it. What would their time constraints be? Is that where we want them putting their time?
So would that be an option with the prior issue we discussed about, if we're forced to potentially have our appropriation affected because we have not spent money? This could be an area where
that could be
a legitimate, not just burning money for no reason.
Right. Well,
Could be
and again,
legitimate.
there could be fences erected,
Sure.
or cemeteries. There could be other ways to do improvements. Like Craig Arnett, we did get his quotes for maintenance schedules, and what would that look like, which can be shouldered by the general fund, which is good, because spending that down also helps us. But yes,
Trying to avoid the Center Township issue right now.
well, yeah, they got the
Staying
grant.
ahead.
They did get the grant for
Staying
that.
ahead of it, so we don't find ourselves in that situation.
Exactly, and that was a huge undertaking. That was a very big undertaking. So, again, what kind of requirements now then are there? Is there going to be an expectation, a higher level of maintenance, a higher level of ability, higher involvement of the trustee's office, and they're kind of in effect, basically caretaker of that, and getting, doing the plots and doing all that maintenance, where it's just been, we just straighten and reset monuments and we keep the grass mowed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't want to deny someone this ability to do that, because we do have the space, and I feel like it would not be, I think it would not be in good faith to just say, well, because I don't want to be bothered, I don't want to do this. So what is a good way to approach this? It makes sense for this office, and it also, will benefit our residents of our township. So
I would just correct this to plot, because
Okay.
I think a lot is 8 spaces. I think.
okay, that's good. Get better language.
Am I
Okay.
right? A plot
Okay.
is one.
And we don't have to
lot
prove
is
necessarily
eight.
the application.
Right,
It's just
but I mean, it's
process, I guess.
Sure.
So it's
I think
plot,
this all
okay.
says plots.
Okay, that's true. Thank you for that. Yeah, because I think must have been going when I spoke with Dale Bag.
Sure.
He was, because you can have multiple, I think he said you can have multiple lots in a plot. So I don't know. Okay, I'll get that question verified.
We'll go ahead for purposes of the record we're creating here and read the proposed Van Buren Township and Grant County Cemetery burial plot policy into the record here. Policy indicates, whereas Indiana Code 23-1468 requires townships to locate and maintain cemeteries as defined by IC 23-1468-1. The Board of Van Buren Township in Grant County, Indiana has determined that the business of the township would be more efficiently performed if the township adopts written policies regarding cemetery burial plots. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Van Buren Township Board hereby adopts the following cemetery burial plot policy. Number 1, burial plots as defined by Indiana Code 2314, 2325 that are not known to be owned by any plot owner as defined by Indiana Code 2314, 3326 are available for a fee to be determined by the Township Board, and any funds received shall be deposited into the Township Fund. Number 2, eligible persons must either be a current resident of Van Buren Township in Grant County, Indiana, when the plot or plots are acquired, B, a current resident of Van Buren Township in Grant County, Indiana, when they pass away, C, have family currently buried or with existing plots in the cemetery, or D, have significant ties to the community as determined by the trustee. Number 3, eligible persons must file a completed cemetery plot application with the trustee. Number 4, probing of available plots is the responsibility of the funeral home through which arrangements have been made and can only be done with prior authorization from the township trustee. And finally, number 5, it's requested that monuments be erected for months of the acquisition of the plots. And then we have an application which you've prepared that would be filled out by any applicant requiring their name, address, phone number, email, and then identifying if they have members who have plots in that cemetery and the identification of who that family member is, and then to determine which cemetery they're making that request for, either Farville or Landis, the number of plots they're requesting, and the contact information then for the funeral home, contact name, email, phone number, and then information for you as the trustee to approve of that, and then identify their location and the dates. So, do you have any questions, I guess, on that policy or any other discussion anybody wants to have on that? Okay, if not, we have a motion to adopt that policy.
So moved.
All right, second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll show it approved. All right. Take us to the final order of business for the trustee report.
And I did touch on some of this already under the finance reports segment of the agenda, but again, just kind of following up with the community service agreement. Again, that was signed in August. I moved in my office there, and then we will look in December about signing one effective for 2026. And again, doing it in 2 installments in January and then also July. And a quick update on the fire board. So the biggest thing out there right now was getting the run logs up to date. So I got a text from Donnie Plummer actually today that he thinks he can get all of 24 finished by tonight, and he's going to start in 25, and with the goal of getting that done by the end of the year. I have independently begin thinking about, okay, you need more than one just log in. Doug, you could answer to this perhaps, the previous experience as a firefighter. Just having something that you take with you, whether it's a tablet or something, and then just enter the run information, or even a laptop. How realistic is that, when you're on a run? And,
From my experience, and this is going back now several years, but that typically was done before you left.
yes, okay.
Mm.
Okay, and I just thought, since you have to now enter into the system, which is digitized, just take it with you, plug it in, sign off and go. So there's none of these.
Back in the old days, we did it with a fill in the blank form.
Right, which is what is still being done, and then
Right.
data entered off that fill in the blank form and then uploaded to, or loaded into Image Trend. So
I mean, that was the before whoever, and it was typically whoever was in the station who did not go out on the run would identify, where the call was, when they
Okay.
left, how many trucks went, would take the roster of who all was
Okay,
on the run, who was there at the station.
okay,
And then if there were any kind of after action stuff that needed to be added to it, that person would get debriefed by the people that were there,
okay,
signed off before you left.
okay,
You know,
okay.
to
Right,
take
that was the end, but then like the next step is now uploading it, and I
Yeah.
think that's where the disconnect happened. Okay. So,
And I don't know how they plan on doing that, if they have that on site or.
so good, remind me, they did get a laptop, is that not correct?
It was my understanding.
That's what they ended up purchasing was a laptop, so, but I was even thinking laptop or like just, do an additional tablet or something and it just goes on the run and whoever does it, so. I just was trying to think logistically what makes the most sense as far as like if you're taking something on a run, you just want to knock it out before you even leave, like, that's kind of nice. I'm not gonna leave the site and then I'm gonna go head back, you know what I mean? Unless there's something about timing, we return to the station at such and such a time, that has to be part of the log, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what information is required.
And there is also the option, because I was looking at the FAQs on the image trend, it's like, okay, let's say you're out in a place where you don't have connectivity. Just leave your screen up, keep everything there, don't shut it down. And then once you're returning to, like, say, the station where there's connectivity, then you just press the upload button.
Yeah, it's hard to tell without knowing what's required of the form. My
Okay.
only concern would be is taking a laptop out on
Right.
from a
Right.
safety standpoint.
Right,
Getting it damaged.
right,
But to me, what you put off for another time becomes
Right,
much easier
right,
not to get.
right. So then I just thought like a tablet's smaller, it usually got like, has the, protective case around it, you just can kind of take care of it real quick. So I was just trying to think of a way to, let's just make it with fewer obstacles, if I don't know what all the reasons were, but fewer obstacles, is that an easier thing to do? Or if it's just, guys, it's just uploaded, chief doesn't, whoever doesn't sign off until it's done. And
There needs to be a policy in place. to
right,
not
because
let it
that's
get
pretty, that's, obviously that's not a trend that can continue, so.
Maybe from our vantage point, that needs to be identified to us. I don't want to micromanage that for them, but I would like to know what's required.
Right,
of
well,
them.
it's actually written into the contract for this
Yeah,
year.
because if it's not very much that's required, then I would not understand why it would not be done and uploaded before.
Right, and one of the comments made by Johnny was because he's like, sometimes it's like, just trying to decipher what these guys were writing. So I'm like, okay, well, then you're just typing it in. There's no question about why you're deciphering, it's there,
Yeah.
That's why I was
Well,
just
and
trying
if
to.
everybody stays here until it's done,
Yeah.
then there's no question about what you
Right.
said. You're right here telling me what you
Yeah,
said.
so again, it just still has to be done, and so
Mhm.
just what's a more seamless way that's gonna be less obstacles, and also, just having that obviously at least a second login. I mean, you can have up to a certain number. I mean, it's just a matter of getting approved, like the chief kind of authorizes a letter or something, submits whatever to the state fire marshal so that you can have different users.
Is there a reason only one person should have that?
I don't know. Like I said, I'm
Okay.
15 some
No,
plus years ago.
the research I
none of
did
that
is
was
you can't have more
required.
than one. It's just not happened.
Yeah.
As I'm understanding.
Here.
Correct,
Okay.
for our department, yes.
Yeah,
For
none of
the
that
volunteer
was,
fire department, yes.
there wasn't anything like that was required.
Right.
This was just basic statistical
And that
information.
takes the burden off one person, or if the person is unavailable, or just, it just takes the burden off one person. And then again, if something happens, there's a second person who already has knowledge, a username, and can just take over if need be, or just help, like, it's okay to have more than one person understanding how to do that, so, okay. But that was just a thought I had, was like, okay, if reading and writing and trying to decipher and all that was difficult, okay. The second thing was on the ear packs. So Doug, they were talking in the last meeting about, they thought they had 2 years before all their ear packs expired. So that quote that I shared with you, I shared
I
with
couldn't
everyone.
open that.
Oh,
Could you?
okay.
I'm sorry.
The quote that Donnie
Oh.
Plummer sent me that I
No, I,
forwarded to
I couldn't
everybody.
open that.
Okay. Anyway, he called. He was like, "Hey, did you get the quote I sent?" I said, "Yes." And he was kind of calling. I said, "Sure." And so all of the ear packs have been expired since 2021. The PSI that they're operating at is like 2216, and all the new equipment is for like 4500 PSI. So if even something went wrong with those ear packs that are currently over there, they couldn't even get parts for them. This is all according to Donnie. So that quote included for all 10. They have a deal going on till the end of October that's like buy one, get one on the cylinders. So obviously with things like this, you can't buy an assembled air pack. You have to buy the cylinder and then the mask and then the battery and then the whatever. So they do have a deal where you get like buy, however number you buy, then you get that same number for free of October. So my question is, and again, it's just kind of regard to you guys. So I'm like, okay, well, 10, like, and at any time there's like two, there would be two in a structure with, and you have to have two on backup in case you know. I'm thinking, like, where do you find out? And again, this could be very well a question for the fire. Their minimum requirements are for things like this. Does a department that size have to have 10? What's that based on? Could we do 6? I'm just trying to think.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any kind of administrative code that requires that. I mean,
Okay.
the 2 and 2 rules that's what I think that's been in place for time, that since I was involved in
Okay.
that. Nobody ever went into a structure without a buddy, and you had 2 ready to go. Now, every structure fire I was ever involved in, it was never just our department. So then when you start doing the math, okay,
Right.
then Washington's in there, and they have 4, and they have
Right.
a cascade filling system. I don't know if they still do. I'm assuming they do, but I don't know. So then Upland comes, that they got 4. So all of a sudden,
You have plenty that
you've got
have the
12 there, or
Mhm.
whatever. And so I don't know how many we can afford to buy. I mean,
Well,
I don't know
and
if that's
again,
something that should be set out over multiple
Right,
That was the
budgets, or
plan, yeah.
And that is and we still have that option to even spread it out over a 5-year period, 0%, just do it over 5 years. Just the question was, is 10 what is needed? Could you do it for 6? Like, again, even if you could do 10, do you just do 10 because that's what was asked, or like,
So if you get 10, are they all going to expire at the same time?
Yes.
yeah, so like then, exactly, so then would you buy
So wouldn't you want like
2 1
want
year,
to
like
have them staggered.
staggered,
So-
exactly. But again, I just was thinking in my head, well, just because that what they had was 10, do you need to replace 10? Or could you just do a total of 6? Because really what's required, I don't know. And again, I don't know how quickly these things are going to start becoming obsolete, like some other technology, like phones, a few years since kind of. So I don't know. Let me give you the numbers super quick. So if we did 10 of them, the total cost is basically $102,000.
Do we even have that?
So that'd be 50 each, and then that, like say spread it over a 5-year period. So it's like 10 a year for a 5-year period. So it's feasible. I was just kind of getting an idea if.
So sometimes it's not whether it's feasible, it's whether it's advisable. Are we better off staggering the
Right,
purchase
and then
of
maybe
them?
only committing to like say 6, and then like doing, you have to do 4. Okay, if they're all expired,
It's gonna
you
be
have
increments of
4.
Right.
So
I think we have to do it, we have to get them covered now.
But even if you did
Bare
like
minimum.
4, and then like down to do 2 years later, well, see if we're gonna get under the.
But
Well,
what
we
we
don't have
had
to
is-
borrow for all of
what we talked about was 4 from us, right? And then the fire department was going to do 2.
it.
So that'd be 6 new ones.
And I think we were gonna do like 2, because they thought within 2 years everything was gonna be expired. They thought we had like a full 2 years before everything was gonna end up being expired, or anything was gonna end up being expired.
Do we know the shelf life of these? I mean, how
Oh,
long?
good question.
I mean, that to me would be where we would
Yes.
start. How long are these going
Yes.
to last?
And
I do believe we stagger. It
And
was,
so that we can stagger and
Yes.
get ahead of the curve of when they're going to expire,
right,
so that we have some sort of rotation.
Yeah.
I mean, that was we missed that curve in a huge way. All of the vehicles within a
I know.
2 or 3 year time frame, and
Everything
now,
is at least 25 years old.
yeah, so now we're in the same spot we were back then when we
Mhm.
purchased them, because we replaced vehicles that were 20 or 30 years.
Exactly. Some from
And
the
should and planning to at least purchase a new vehicle every.
Part of that too is going to be dependent. Like for me, I like to see, okay, what do you do? What are the nature of your runs? What's required? What's advisable? Because you've had 2 engines or 3 engines and 2 whatever. Like, is that because it's just because you've always had it? That's what the need is now, or like, I don't know that the structure fires are like they used to be, like you said, many of the old barns now and all of that. So what's the nature of the funds? If we're gonna have to invest some significant resources, where's the best place to invest those right now? Because that's supporting the majority of the runs that you're going on right now.
And sorry, I was looking at the notes for the year. Are we still doing year 2 plus?
So yeah, the year can still happen yet.
That's what I was looking
This
at,
year.
sorry.
Those, because they did the fire department's putting up for,
They're doing the 2 and we're doing the 4.
we can still make that happen for 25.
And purchase air packs?
Oh, air packs won't start until 26
Okay.
at the earliest. But I wonder, I think Donnie's point was, if we want to take advantage of the deal, that's good through the end of October, you can get a financing round and you're not truly out large amounts of money. So.
What is
But-
the savings?
Yeah, but it still doesn't solve a problem of.
Right, so where's the legit, like, and again, I've talked with a couple council members and, that's a question they're having. Is all the equipment that's out there with these volunteers, fire departments, are those legitimate needs? What is the volume of fire runs that they're doing? What is the need for the equipment that they have there? Do they need to top of the line engines and this and that and that? Like if they're doing, 15
Do they
runs a
need
year.
air packs?
I would say absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
because the problem is it only takes one house fire with someone trapped in it.
Well, that's what I was
They
thinking
can't get
about.
into the house because they have no air packs and somebody dies.
Oh,
Then-
I'm sorry, not
yeah.
that, but I think like the bigger thing. So for instance, like let's say like Van Buren has like, I think they just have the 2 engines, engine 42 and
They do,
43.
right.
Right, but let's say they had like, 2 super top of the line ones and yet they're on the call and like there's usually mutual aid. So you got these other tiny fire departments with all, you know what I mean? So I think in their minds, they're thinking, do we need all that big equipment sitting out there in everyone's fire barn? You know what I mean? Like, could you get away with like one engine and then of course your supplementary, vehicles or again, I mean, I think honestly, they'd also look at merger, like merger
Oh, merger.
townships.
Yeah.
So again, that's also kind of coming down the road too.
I think the theory back then was always we replaced the town's main attack pumper with a big traditional pumper unit that was used mainly in town. And then the smaller engine, which is 43,
Okay.
had a bigger tank on it. So in essence, it kind of doubled as a engine / another unit that could carry larger amounts of water as
Outside
opposed to
from
an
a
engine
source.
that had a very small tank because we could hook into hydrants in town.
Right.
And that allowed us to do away for several years. We always had a second tanker. For a while there, we bought one of Tedder's old milk trucks, and because we had to haul water to places where you had hydrants, or hope you could find a pond that you could pull water
Out of here.
and so I think they've got a pretty good mix the way that it is right. Pumper.
Right.
And that's just not gonna probably happen. So do you look at smaller, engines like 43, if we can't afford to,
Or
or do you go to the used market and see if
right,
you
because
can
some of
find-
these larger municipalities, like they just have to. It's like, here's our scheduled replacement plan, and we've had this thing for this long, and we have to replace it. So, I mean, the wear and tear on that would be sufficient probably for like the number of runs that we would have to make in our, in our community.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if they're city miles
yeah, certain stuff.
and start and stops, but yet the technology is an upgrade over the technology that we have on those now, which is 20 plus years old.
Right, and we just had to do all that radio upgrade if we had to, so that was $23,000 in April. It's like we didn't have a choice.
Mhm.
So
Sure, I get it. They'd love to have $1 million truck. I get that. But if we don't have the budget for that.
right, but and that's where I would like to see. I want to see what your runs look like. What's the nature of them?
Mhm.
I mean, if you're 69, don't know that we're needing, and you're not doing much in the way of fighting fires.
But I will tell you, I mean, when you dial 911, you want the equipment that's gonna save your
Yeah.
home to show up.
Yeah. Yeah, you want people, well, you not only you want the equipment, you want knowledgeable volunteers arriving and using the equipment as it needs to be used, so.
So the problem they had for a while as well too, when we didn't really have a traditional rescue, is that equipment was spread out over multiple vehicles, and so you'd have to take multiple vehicles to get all
the
the
pieces you
tools
needed.
and pieces needed to be able to crack a vehicle open. When we were finally able to get a true rescue unit that had all of that stuff on that one vehicle, then that makes sense.
Right.
And then, if you have a smaller, like I think, with the grass rig that has a small tank that has just enough water so that you could get it out there. If a car's on fire, you wouldn't need much water to get it put out.
Gotcha.
Then you don't have to pull your big
Tanker out there.
pumper or tanker out there to try to put out small, vehicle
Fires, small field fires.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, so I mean, there is another meeting, what's October 8th is the next fire board's meeting with the fire department, so, I mean.
I think we need to know the expiration or the longevity
Yeah,
of
stuff
those
like that.
tanks. How long are they going to last? So that we could try to see if we could budget to replace,
Mhm.
get on some sort of rotation.
Right.
We talked about that with the gear too, so even if we staggered them and tanks 1 year, gear the next, yeah.
And I had,
Get-
I know I saw a schedule and I thought it was put together by Larry York. Like, I swear I saw one. Like, do you think I can find it now? Because I'm like, I know he did it. Like, and Donnie even referenced it. He's like, yeah, I think Larry put together one. I don't know that we really ever adhered to it. But it was like pretty like mapped out, every 2 years or like every year, this many sets of this and this many of that, and just kind of over the course of a 5 to 10 year plan. I remember seeing it. I just don't know where it was. So I might just reach out to him again because he did all that inventory because he was kind of the inventory manager for the department. So
To be on their end too, I mean, if they know what we can commit to and this is our plan, then with their supplemental fundraising.
yeah, I mean,
You
their
know,
balance was such that they,
then-
offered to do the 2 sets of gear. So which for them, that's going to end up being, I'm trying to remember how much the gear is. Is it like 8 to 10 they're going to put up? 8 to 10,000 for 2 sets of gear. Would that be right? Am I thinking wrong? Was it all
4,000 a
46? Is that 1,000
I remember
a
that.
set? Anyway, that was in
That's
the
okay.
minutes. Yeah, it's in the minutes. I'm just, a couple of the numbers are blending together with what was what, but, okay. So,
Well, too, from a transparency standpoint with the public too, if you're fundraising and you can say, this is what
we used it.
this is what our township and town have budgeted to cover. So when you donate to us, this is what you're helping.
Right. And
do.
again, in the grants, you have to have all that listed.
Mhm.
You have to have your plan. You have to be able to report back on that grant usually, some of the like more local ones that would be for smaller amounts, obviously. I mean, you're just kind of finance a truck. There's just no way around that anymore.
That's too much money. Yeah.
Yeah,
we
well,
have
and
to.
then if you're having an attorney tell you leading through FEMA application process is intense,
Mhm.
and imagine all the stuff they have to wade through, right, Doug?
Mhm.
They're like, it's daunting. It's daunting now to do a FEMA application. Anyway, okay, so we'll get shelf life, we'll get an idea on that. But I'm hearing from you, 10 is okay, still a goal to go for ultimately, or on the air packs, or let's think differently.
My personal opinion would be until I would know the answer as to how long they last,
Gotcha.
that would
Okay.
make a huge difference to me.
Okay.
That's just my thinking.
True, because then you'll know how to map
Just
out how many
because
you need to do that.
I don't want to, I personally would not want to continue to repeat the cycle of then are they going to come to us 10 years from now and say, okay, these all expired.
So,
I think we get on the rotation thing, even if. we
right,
have to
so
make
even
them
if we still
develop a
make
new
it, take advantage of the end of the October deal, you know what I mean?
one.
But don't do 10, just do,
Mhm.
Because we had discussed doing 4 in 2026
okay,
and then 4 more in 2027. Reevaluate expenses in 26,
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
so 4 viable ones at any given time.
So you need 2 for each person that goes into the structure.
Well, you'll have 2 people that go in, so you can't go in with somebody unless you have somebody else with you.
Right.
So you got 2 in, and then you got out
Backup.
for backup in
backup.
case something
Individual,
would
so
happen.
packs already ready
So
to
you
go.
get, so that's where you
Okay.
get the 4 at. So if something would happen to those 2, you got 2 on standby that could go in to try to rescue those 2.
Gotcha.
So you have to
So
at
at the
least have-
minimum, we need 4 functioning,
Right, that would be the standard.
Right.
bare minimum. Okay.
Yeah, so I think
And
we
another
really,
question is.
I think we really have to move on 4, but I think the answer would be
Yeah,
how quickly we could commit to doing 4 more
Right.
or increment of 8 or
Right.
whatever is, we need to know how
and how
long
quickly
these.
can a pack get refilled? So if the 2 got rescued and came back out, and then the 2 that were fresh packs were in there,
Yeah, I think
when
that,
can 2 more be ready to go?
I think that refilling system will works
Okay.
pretty quick.
Okay.
I don't know that we have one. I don't know the answer to that question. We never
Well,
did. First
Donnie
one's
got
like-
the
I
one.
think they do.
So they
Swayze,
do.
but the problem is, the fitting was for the
Old.
old,
So
yeah,
unless
the
it can be
22,
retrofitted.
16 PSI, not the 4,500.
So unless it can be refitted to,
Right, or get a different one.
then it won't work.
And I will have to, let me look at that real quickly on the quote to see if the hose was a part of that. Get down here where he was. There we go. Yeah, I don't know why this didn't open that. Okay. I don't know if you can. So that's, you'll see 2 line items of the cylinders, and that's because of the buy one, get one. So it would be 20 cylinders, but, and then there's also this, the 6+ for the 6 bank, battery or something would kind of get thrown in, but, I don't know if it's anything about hose. I'm checking my notes that I took when Donnie and I spoke.
Doesn't look like those are the frames,
I
that the
just do.
cylinders fit in, face mask piece, chargers, batteries,
Okay.
the face piece.
All right, and then I'll double check on this.
I would say that it probably does not.
Okay, and then I'll recheck refilling system and hose. Well then, okay, that doesn't make sense. Surprised they didn't. I wonder if he at the time thought maybe what they did have was gonna be adequate. I don't know. I asked him, I said, well, do you still need to get the fitting for the hose so that you can refill them? And that's when he says, well, we just found out what we have is obsolete. So, okay, I'll just ask that question again. Okay, good questions. Like I said, I wanted a chance to talk to you because I know you have in the field experience on that, so maybe be able to consider it from a better angle. Okay. And then rotation, we talked about that. Okay. Okay.
It would be nice to take advantage of the sale. It would.
Right. So if there's a way to do it, like just start
Mhm.
someplace,
Mhm.
And I have not yet been able to connect with Courtney Seats, the township clerk, to see where are they at, like spreading that out and what would that outlay look like for them, and as far as if we had to pull the trigger like by October again, and if then they would be willing and wanting to do the 0% financing, so they're not necessarily out money right away. So I do need to get that verified with Courtney, see where the town's at. I mean, we, from our cash balances, we can shoulder some of that between the cumulative fund and our township firefighting fund. So, but if you're able to spread it out, that's nice. But you do have to report that, if you're, and that would also be then considered additionally obligated money. It could even be obligated out of the general fund. Okay.
The longer their shelf life, definitely the more attractive that starts to look, If they have a short shelf life, then I don't know that that's.
Well, if the ones that we currently have expired in 2021 and they thought they still had plenty of time, it must be a fairly long shelf
You would
life or
think,
nobody thought.
yeah.
to
And at
check
that
it.
cost, you would hope
You would think so, my goodness, it's a lot of money.
that's a fair amount of money, which we knew they were gonna be.
I
But
feel like we discussed that last time I was there, but I don't remember the answer.
okay. And I'll even get those questions out. I can just include everyone just before, so we're not finding out just on October 8th and then trying to feel like we need to make a decision on the spot. So I'll try to get that out to everybody. Have Donnie or whoever answer the question, but everyone's seeing it or.
And what's the significance of 10? Is it just because that's the maximum number,
I
or
think it's
is
just what
it
they have.
That's what they have
yeah,
now.
just because they have them?
So that's my question is that what we need to do? Or like you said, could we do a certain, obviously you have to 4 now, but then could be like.
I mean, 8, I'm just thinking in the increments of 4,
Right,
Mhm.
8.
Mhm.
I can
Right.
understand 8,
right.
you know. But
Because like the terms for the financing part is like you just make an annual payment and you stretch it out over 5 years.
because if
4
you've got
years.
2 crews in and you've got 2 crews
Uh-huh.
waiting, that's 8.
And how many
You
firemen
could
do we have?
you couldn't send another crew of 2 in if
If
you
you
only
don't
had
have the right-
10 because you wouldn't have the
Right,
backup.
the 2 and 2, you're right.
So-
They need, so they do need to be in
So it
increments.
seems to me it
4.
would
But that was my question about the refilling capability. So the crew that came out, needed a break, the new crew went in, can those then get refilled and then be ready to go again?
It could, you still have to have the crew of
The two,
Yeah, so
you would
two
have to have
backup while the
6
one's
people.
getting, so
So
6.
now you have to have 6, okay. If you're busy refilling these 2, you have to have somebody else.
Somebody else
prepared
on
to go.
standby,
Yeah,
and so
Okay.
2 and 2 guys. So is 6 a good look to go
No,
for?
I
Just
think
or
8.
inquire about, hey, is 6 a feasible situation?
I think 8.
I think it has to be, yeah, I
Oh,
think
8,
you're
no
gonna have to
matter,
do
okay,
8 because you're gonna have to. Yeah.
at a given time,
Mhm.
and then do,
Yeah, so
so
that.
I can
that's
kind of
what-
see why, I can kind of see why they did the 10
Yeah,
then.
so then the 10 is.
Because
the-
2 years later you replace, you know,
Right.
so you always have 8 at any given time. Well, no, I don't know, you could do 8. And then just start replacing, but yeah, again, shelf life, that does really,
Mhm. Mhm.
Mhm.
okay.
Well, yeah, and you have to counterbalance, I think you probably have to counterbalance that too with, I mean, or at some point in time, are we sitting down with the town to try to figure out what's the next step for getting a plan in place to replace?
Right, because again, we're in a
truck.
situation, yeah, and we're
And so if we
we're
put all our
talking the
eggs
same
in,
thing, everything at once.
yeah, if we're putting all our eggs in this basket, then we've given ourselves no flexibility
Right.
to the bigger picture, which is what happens if those trucks start breaking down at the same time.
Or again, do we go back to maybe G4 now, knowing that on a site, you're all gonna have others with air packs.
Yeah, we're not gonna be the only department on this.
So doing, because again, then we're like always stuck in the same cycle. Now they all got purchased at the same time and now
No,
we got replacement all
yeah,
at
I
the same
say we
time.
do 4 and work on that rotation, yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because I'm just,
There's a team of 2 that can be.
and again, you rely on that mutual aid factor, so really.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at it comprehensively. If there's a major house fire in town, they're going to be
They
calling,
are going to be
Mhm.
there. Yeah,
they're calling
There-
other
there will
departments.
be others there, yes. Yeah, okay.
At least would allow us to get 2 in immediately with 2 out while we're waiting on the other departments, you know, to get there.
Okay. Yeah, I know. It's like, I should ask how many miles are on the.
I just feel like the
Engines.
vehicles and the equipment should be separate annual concerns. Like squirreling away some for a vehicle
Mhm.
and taking care of the equipment rotation.
Right, and that's what the cumulative fire fund was established, at least for the township end. Now, the town does not have that, a cumulative fund for that purpose.
So then you're right, we need to have a conversation. What are you doing to
Yeah.
work towards being ready to make
Right,
this?
because the
purchase?
township did fund everything last time. The town did not go in 50-50 on it last time.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow.
but
Which
we
was always
did, we,
Bob's concerns, is
we
that
did,
felt
but
like he was going on.
grants were
runs.
secured. It was amazing. They ended up getting 2. And that was back when the state senators,
Mhm.
David Ford and
Mhm.
Todd Young, not Todd Young. I'm going
Dean
with
Young.
I'm going with the guy, like I'm going with the current one. Yeah. So they were very instrumental in helping secure those. And so that between the grants being, I think, about half, and the township put up half, and he basically took it down to the to zero at the end of the year. So
Well, we did have some additional connections back then because when Strashcraft was still here, we
Right.
were able to cycle old animals as
Mhm.
our rescue.
mhm.
Like Fincan helped us with get a pickup truck for
Mhm.
Mhm.
retrofitting it for a vehicle. Just don't know we have those connections
Right.
anymore.
I agree.
And the way that things have been priced just exorbitantly, they just really skyrocketed. And with the grant market just becoming very, very difficult now. Like what was available 25 years ago is not available to us today.
A lot of competition for good used
So
vehicles
much,
too.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So it's just it's the environment we're in.
Yeah, you can't find a used truck that's in good shape without paying a
Yeah.
good price because they're in really high demand.
There they are. Yeah, it's just kind of a situation. Okay, so, I'll get those questions sent out before the October 8th meeting, so at least we can get some response and feedback, and then maybe come more prepared for that meeting to actually put something in writing and make the decision then, so. If we did want to take advantage of the October deal, so. But again, that's gonna be really, I'll find out from Courtney.
What is that cost savings per?
Well, oh gosh, what was the cylinder, Doug, do you remember? I don't even know if that was spelled out.
I don't
think it was.
I don't think there was a price on
I
it.
think it was just what the things were.
Just identify what it was,
Yeah.
how many.
Okay.
Right, so the entire package, yes, but it did not, so I can ask that question too, cost per cylinder. Oh wait, never mind. Oh, I wrote it down over here. So it's $1,050 per cylinder, so $10,000
Okay.
if you did 10, so you're saving $1,050. So it'd be 4,000 savings but you'd have a cylinder, but you wouldn't have necessarily the rest of the gear, so. But they'd be fresh cylinders, so you could go ahead and get your 8 cylinders. Why couldn't you just swap those out?
Is that what they do?
Or are they already assembled and then you just have to fill them
Yeah, they're
already
already in a
assembled?
pack, so
Okay,
basically
gotcha.
just
Okay.
pull the entire pack. Yeah, it's been a long time, so. I
And
don't know
voucher
if-
exchange.
Yeah, I don't know if those are retrofitted differently now, but
Okay,
back then they were, once they're assembled onto that pack,
it's in the pack and you
It's
just
in the
fill it.
pack,
Okay,
refill
never
it,
mind
put
then,
them
okay.
there on the road. In fact, I think they had the ability to fill them with you, not even have to take them off the back.
Yeah, just fill them up right like that, okay. Okay, and so I got the hose, yeah, okay. Rotation, shelf life. Okay, all right. Okay. All right, well, thanks for taking the time on that one. I knew that took our meeting a little bit longer than what we normally do, but since this is kind of coming up, we need to make a decision, so. That's all I have. Did you guys have anything for me beyond all of that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
All right. It's 7:05 PM. I have a motion to adjourn then if we don't have any other business.
So,
All right, second.
Second.
All approved, say aye.
uh,
All right.
And
We
Tara
are
did
adjourned.
our nice stand off. She said, "Thanks for watching."
Thanks for watching.
Our last